Alright, so I'm finishing up the edit on the video now. However, I just want to go over the prices and the parts while I'm here at the computer, since I can't do that in the edit. So here is the dust port off of Amazon. That is the piece that I ordered. It was $8, so I ordered 2 of these. Ordered the brake duct from Miata, but they go for about $130 before shipping. And then here is the hoses that I ordered from eBay. Good quality stuff. It was 53 bucks, free shipping. However, this is it says 0 available now, so I don't know if you can order this exact kit. But anyways, it's not really the whole point to this. I just want those in the beginning of the video to simply say, if I go back in time, I would probably just go with the Goodwin racing kit, since essentially has everything, including black hose, which looks better than the orange crap that I got. Well, it's, you know, preference really, but I would have ordered this kit and then just ordered these and had essentially what I have now. But anyways, throwing this in the beginning of the video just to recap on the prices. It was $200 before shipping for all 3 of the parts that I ordered, so I paid about, I want to say $220, $230 maybe, because most of the stuff had free shipping, whereas the Goodwin racing kit is $210, and I believe the shipping is around like 50 bucks. So they're essentially the same thing, but I would highly recommend this plus this if you're gonna do it the way I did it. Anyways, let's get to the video now. What is going on, YouTube? So today I'm covering kind of like a DIY for a brake duct mod using, well, an MB2 bumper, fog light hole, whatever you want to call it, and then just some miscellaneous parts that I kind of pieced together. I know that, I want to say it's Goodwin sells a complete kit that utilizes the Singular Motorsports brake duct. I just want to go a different route. Nothing against that one at all, but this is my take on this modification here. So I'm going to go over how I did it, and of course then I'm going to actually do it on the passenger side, record the process, so you can kind of see how easy this is. Here's a quick glance at the entire setup. Coming down to the Singular Motorsports brake duct here. Sorry, the lighting's kind of poor. I have not clipped the zip ties. That's just there to kind of give me the form that I wanted in the hose. I will kind of clean this up and maybe do a different type of bracing or mounting solution there. But essentially it probably is going to bum most of its support from the sway bar. As far as parts go for this setup, I'm using the Singular Motorsports brake ducts. You have your hole here for your ABS sensor if you're running ABS in your car. Pretty quality stuff. The only thing I had to complain about, it might have just been me or user error, was down here in this section. I couldn't really get it to not hit against the rotor. I did kind of bend it a couple times, but I just didn't want to chance it. It was so close that I kind of just cut this section out here and then folded what I could back, and I can spin the rotor now. There's no noise, no scraping, so good to go there. For the hose, this is that awesome like heat resistant brake duct hose. I got it off of eBay. I don't know the proper name for it, honestly. I kind of already forgot. But what's cool about it is that you can flex it. Like here, I'll make a horseshoe, and of course it's gonna hold its shape. Air could definitely still flow through here, and it'll pop right back to its original shape. Cut to length. So this is the hose kit that I ordered. It was 2 pieces off of eBay. They're both 40 inches long. It came with hose clamps on each end. It also came with these inlets. Now I'm not using these, of course. Now you could, if you were doing like a, you know, one of those air dam bumpers and you wanted to mount this, or you know, make your own mounting point, you could do that. But I'm not using these. I went with this is like a dust collector. I want to say it's for vacuums, or I have no idea. I went on Amazon and simply just typed in like 2.5 inch something, I can't remember. But this is on Amazon. I think they're like $7 a piece. And what's cool about it, as you can see, is that it's angled, and that made a big difference, you know, in making this happen, because I'll show you behind there again. But obviously, you know, when you're mounting it up, you can have it kind of canted backwards or going this way. You might even be able to use it like this, or make it go down, but this flange isn't wide enough to touch both sides. I already tried that. So if you look at the back of mine, you can see that I have it, you know, going towards like the radiator, the engine itself, which is really nice because it cleared right over the intercooler piping here. It was kind of rubbing on this little brace here. Now I could have just bumped that up some, maybe removed it, or you don't have an MSM, you're not going to worry about this. I just put tape here right now to kind of buffer it. I will use like some foam tape to further support it some more, because this section here is not going to expand. It's mainly this area that's going to be doing the expansions and the movements and whatnot. And I can already tell it's kind of rubbing a little bit. I'll do a quick little video of this in action as I'm turning the wheel to full lock in both directions. Alright, here we go. So I'm going to shoot this video real quick because there's just the crap moving around. I'm looking forward to actually watching this video myself because I can't see what's happening here when I'm up at the steering column turning the wheel. But I'm going to turn it all the way in right now. You'll see that it compresses down, kind of takes shape, whatever, still stays clear of where the wheel would be. I've already tested this out, the wheel's on. And here's all the way out. Yeah, and right there I know it's catching on one of the zip ties, so I am going to redo how that's locked up there. But everything still stayed in place. Of course, I'm about to film the passenger side and do this whole thing over again for over there and walk you through the steps. Essentially, it's very basic, very plug and play, especially if you already have, or if you went with these flanges, the plastic ones to use on the fog light mounting point. You're going to remove your caliper, you're going to remove your rotor, then you're going to take off this dust cover here and remove the actual wheel bearing hub assembly, slide that off, and then it's just as simple as taking off these three, well, it'll be three like little 12mm bolts here. Take the whole dust shield off, and then you're going to reinstall the Singular Motorsports brake duct. And yeah, once you get to there, you reassemble all this again, you put your stuff back together, and then you're just playing arts and crafts and doing the hoses and the fabrication. Because I did have to drill out these a little bit to get them where I wanted to be. But like I said, looking online and knowing this was 2.5 inches, just like the hose is, just like the brake duct is, I kind of had my hopes up, and I was correct. But I knew there'd be plenty of clearance here to fabricate this to mount to the fog light mounting point, so pretty cool. Alright, so step number 1, taking off the brake caliper. It's gonna need a 14mm. Bolts are back here, break them loose, slide this out of the way. Make sure you secure it. I messed up on the driver's side. I thought I had it secure, and then when I was taking this dust cover off, the vibrations, of course, knocked it off, and the line, well, the whole caliper flipped and it kinked the hose right here. Still, the piston's still actuating, but I know the kink's probably going to be potentially a hazard down the road, so I already ordered a whole new set of stainless lines just to replace that one, but lessons learned. Alright, so the caliper's off now. We got it kind of secure, the bungee cord and a jack stand there. Now we're going to pull the rotor off and get to the fun stuff. Alright, so here, you got to pull off this little dust cover to get to the spindle nut. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off real quick. You can take a flathead or a very, very thin, basically a flathead, and you're going to tap and hammer around the edges here until this cover comes off. And it's almost there. There we go. Alright, so I barely tapped up a little bit of that notch there. Now I'm to the impact with the good old 29mm on it and take this skull nut off. So now the hub should just slide off. Yep, there it goes. And like I said on the driver's side, I had the rearmost bolt head snap off. So I'm soaking these in PB Blaster right now. Gonna let it sit for a little bit, come back, and hopefully break them all loose. No broken bolts anywhere, because that would be kind of a nightmare. Well, I jinxed it. Still had one casualty over here, so now I got the upper bolt that snapped off. But the lower two came out, so hopefully I'll go for test fit here pretty soon and see if it's a cause for any concern. But I still think these two should be able to hold it in place. But I preferred it to be these two, the top and bottom, but oh well. Alright, so this is on now. Not worried about moving too much. I mean, it would have been awesome if I would have had a third mounting point, or at least, like I said, the top and the bottom. But this is going to be what it is for now until one day I want to get in there and get rid of that broken off bolt. Also, before you throw it in the comments, yes, I see now this is torn. I think it's torn on the other side as well, so this is a good job to do, because honestly, if I would have known I was going to get this far into all this, I would have already probably replaced the wheel bearings and everything and just got a new hub altogether, because I'm basically doing that now. But this is a very simple job, so of course now I know here on out when and if that becomes a problem. All this hardware has been recently gone through, so it shouldn't be a big problem to tackle those jobs, and I'll get this replaced as soon as possible. But now I'm going to reassemble everything, at least this section here, and get over to the hose and the fog light stuff. So I got the spindle nut on, the rotor, and the caliper. I forgot to show this, but before you put the caliper on, so obviously your brakes are still kind of, you know, grippy, whatever. Before you put this on, push the rotor back as far as you can with your hand and free spin it, and try to make sure it's not hitting on the brake duct. Like I already told you before, I cut the lower section out here just to make sure it wouldn't rub at all. But this little top portion up here, I just kind of had to push it back, give it more of a little bit of an angle, and I got plenty of gap now. Well, enough to not be concerned anymore about this touching the rotor. So obviously, you know, metal on metal won't sound too good. So now we're going to get into removing the fog light and get into the arts and crafts. I'm sure everyone knows how to do this, but I did want to make a comment here that the passenger side is a whole lot easier than the driver's side, because there's nothing obstructing from the fog light to the brake duct. So this would be a little bit easier than the driver's side, whereas you saw the charge pipes coming right out of the whatever you want to call it up here under the headlight and coming right down in front of it. So let's get to work. Alright, so we removed the fog light and little harness that goes to that plug here. This little tab here, at least for my bracket, I guess I could cut the bracket to clear this, but I simply just cut off, I don't know if you can see it really, this little tab on top right here. I just cut it as far back as I possibly can. That's going to aid with clearance. I'm going to do that real quick and then show you what I removed and get back to it. For time's sake, just did a quick little cut and then threw a knife at it to cut off the little burrs that were here and there. Of course, when the bumper's off again, hopefully in the near future, I'll smooth this out some more. But for time's sake and for this install video, that'll be enough cutting just to make it, you know, usable. So like I said earlier, we're going to drill these holes a little bit wider and oblong them and do what we need to do to basically get this to be flush, right? And of course what I'm doing, I like using this placeholder here in the left, because all three of these are screws obviously. I found that if I just use that as my main point really, I will just simply walk in front of, or lean in front of the car, make sure it's going to seal. You know, I don't want to see too much. I don't want to see like this, you know. I don't want to have like light peeking through the top. That'd be terrible looking. But keep it right about there though. From the front of the car to almost center of the circle. So I'm going to drill these holes, then show you what I did for the cutting. Then we're going to mount it and continue. Alright, so a lot of plastic later. Here are the final cuts. Again, these are not going to be pretty or fancy or anything, but you can see how I just had to elongate some to make it a little better. It honestly almost holds itself in place, but I'm still going to run hardware on it for obvious reasons. So here we go, we're going to place it on. And there it is. It's already, like I said, pretty snug right now. I can pull on it with my hand and you can see the whole bumper moving. I'm going to run the hardware now on there and get it finally secured. By all means, choose a different route here than what I'm makeshifting right now, but just a nut, the screw that went to the fog light originally, basically going to serve as a huge washer, right? And I'm going to thread it in now. Alright, so here's a quick little look at it one more time. You can't really see the screw down here in the bottom left, but that is it. We now have our duct in the front, hard mount to the bumper. We have our duct back here, ready to rock and roll on the brake. And you can see from this front point of view, just for the hell of it, another angle. It's not perfect. I mean, obviously it'd be more ideal if this opening was the exact diameter of the hole itself, but I'm sure it's still going to catch some air, and that's really the only purpose to any of this right now, so let's continue. Okay, so it wasn't too much to record right there. It was simply me just I would like mock the hose up on the ground to kind of mimic where it was going to be, you know, up here and here, kind of guesstimating the length. I ended up cutting off these two sections, so it's 4 inches total. Took off, I don't know, maybe like 7, 8 possibly inches. The big thing that I learned from the other side, because I might have cut that side a little too short, is that obviously this section here is never gonna have to worry about expanding or, you know, having to compress at all. So you want to try to kind of overcompensate and pull this section out. Have your like scrunch to your side here, because obviously this is going to be, you know, moving when the wheel turns all the way out, and then it's going to compress and come back in. This should be enough slack in here. I'm gonna set the camera down, go turn the wheel a few times, and then we'll throw the wheels on, do the same thing, check for clearances. After that, on both sides, I need to figure out a good solution versus zip ties. I mean, I'm probably still going to use these, but I want something a little flatter and maybe rounded on the edges so it doesn't catch on the actual ribs here in the hose. So I'll come back to that in a second. We have plenty of clearance from the actual wheel itself all the way around to the brake duct, so I count that as a good success. Alright, so it's the next day. Kind of did some more configuring. Ran to Home Depot and got these pretty big cable tie deals. Since this is the only point that needs to really be locked down, because this is like the straightaway portion, this made the most sense to kind of get the clamp going here. I got the zip ties kind of acting as placeholders on the clamp so that it can't really move around. Extra slack is zip tied here. And then I put some foam on this whole section of the sway bar here, just in case. I mean, it had like a little bit of a lip to it, and since this is going to be constantly going back and forth, I figured I wouldn't want it to fray right there. But I mean, that's essentially it for now. Up until I need like a different routing, or you know, maybe I'll get like I'm trying to source out my plans for a splitter and the whole chassis mounted deal, which I know might make this a little bit more of a pain to install, or at least the splitter. I'll tackle that when that time comes, but show the driver's side real quick. Alright, and then here's the driver's side. Again, it's model speed Miata, so intercooler coming out right there. So like I said, I had cut this side too short, just a little bit too short. And since there's a lot more playroom over there, I simply just traded the hoses. Now that I have the extra slack, it was very easy to, again, pull all that straight. Right, this section doesn't really matter, so it's going to be straight, clamped, and then the rest of this is kind of scrunched up. And like in my Instagram story, I'm not worried about this ever doing anything, because it's going to naturally try to take its form, you know, so it's going to just come back up into place. And likewise, I'm going to, here's some more foam, but I'm going to set the camera down, record again, full lock in and out, maybe even both sides, just so I can see it for myself on camera, and so you can watch it, you know, in the works or whatever. So there it is, turned all the way in. Yeah, I expected it to droop here, I'm not worried about that though. The car is high enough off the ground, let alone we're talking about this is still above, you know, suspension components. And then full lockout. Cool. And there we go. That's looking pretty promising. Not worried about this really at all. Alright, so I'm re-recording the outro because this is the next day and I didn't plan on finalizing it, or at least getting it cleaned up like I did. But that wraps it up. The cable ties really came in handy from Home Depot, but I'm sure you can get those anywhere. But now I'm about to go drive the car. I haven't actually driven it since installing the short shifter. There was no need to make a video or whatever. Everyone, you know, loves the Miata Roadsters shifters or whatever. I'm also running a Blocks weighted shift knob. But yeah, I have yet to actually even drive with this in the car yet. Also, I was already online earlier trying to find the hoses that I ordered from eBay. Like I said, the company is Icon Motorsport. They have an eBay page, but apparently the listing for those hoses, because like I said, it came in 2 pieces, both 40 inches long, which is plenty. I only had to trim maybe like 7 inches off of each side. I can't find it anymore. I was gonna go ahead and order another set to have on standby in case these fail. Again, I wanna say it's Goodwin Racing sells basically what I have right here, a Sinclair Motorsports Duct with a hose. It's black, looks better than this orange stuff, but I don't really mind the orange. The difference between their kit and then what I pieced together, even though it came out to be about the same in price, maybe I paid like a little bit more, is that I'm using the factory 5-light holes, or the mounts behind them to make that work. So yeah, anyways, enough of that. I covered all the parts in the beginning of the video, hopefully, so I don't got to recap on those. If you have any questions, by all means comment whatever down below. And like I said, I'll try to link, or at least maybe throw up some screenshots of what I ordered, or I'll even link you to the Goodwin Racing kit, because I think it's like $260, maybe $270 shipped. But that comes with everything. Just you have to, kind of do it yourself for the inlets if you're still using a stock bumper, or if you're using like the cool air dam bumper deal, then you have at it. But that'll wrap it up for today. I'll catch you guys later.